I had a choice to go into academics and become a professor or go into biotech industry. When I told my professor that I was going to go into biotech, he said I would be like a flower without water. And I think he thought that the science wasn't as innovative and as challenging. But I found the opposite to be true. So much of biotech is trying to do what hasn't been done before. For the last 20 years, I've been focused on finding medicines that treat the underlying cause of cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a rare, life-limiting genetic disease. It has many different symptoms, but the most common cause of death is lung disease. In addition, people suffer from malnutrition, poor growth, liver disease. People with cystic fibrosis spend about 2 hours every day on their therapies, and that includes taking up to 40 pills a day. In the early days of the CF program, our program was referred to as the fantasy program because what we were trying to do was develop medicines that work in ways that no other medicine has worked before.
At Vertex, we think the greatest value we can bring is to take diseases where nobody has yet found the answer and to be the first to try and crack the problem to help patients. The cells that line your lung have little fingers on the top of them called cilia, and they wiggle to try and move along the mucus and protect your lungs. But in cystic fibrosis, they don't move.
In the lung, you get this thick, sticky mucus that clogs the airways and traps germs. The CFTR protein doesn't work properly, and it doesn't get to the cell surface where it's supposed to be. So we needed to develop two different medicines that work together. So we started by screening over 1 million compounds, and what we were looking for was that needle in the haystack, the one starting point that could be a potential medicine. What really enabled the CF program is that we used lung cells from people with cystic fibrosis instead of animal models to improve the likelihood of success. We believe in using human disease-relevant cells because that improves our ability to predict the likelihood of clinical benefit far better than animal models. And when we treated those cells with one of our medicines, we saw the cilia start to beat. And it was a really exciting moment because it was like seeing the underlying causal biology be fixed in front of your eyes. It was really amazing. The patients are at the center of everything we do. We walk with them, we meet with their parents and their loved ones. We're deeply connected to the people that we're trying to treat. In 2006, on the clinical results of our first clinical study with our first medicine targeting the underlying cause of CF, and the results came up, there was just tears of joy.
We feel tremendous urgency to try and bring medicines to patients. In order to do that, we invest at risk in all the different steps that might be needed so that if the medicine proves valuable, we can bring it to patients as soon as possible.
In 2012, we had our first approval of our first medicine to treat a small population of people with cystic fibrosis. And about 3 weeks later, I received a lung from a person who would have been eligible for that medicine. That always reminds me to work with urgency because people with CF are waiting.
I sometimes think when people imagine a scientist, they think of someone sitting alone in a room who has a brilliant idea, a light bulb goes off, and then the problem's solved. Nothing could be further from the truth. It takes the work of many people working as a team, often for years or decades, to crack an important scientific problem, and then even harder, to bring a solution to that problem to patients in need.
I've worked with Fred for 20 years. I'm a medicinal chemist, whereas Fred is a biologist. Fred is an incredible scientist. He's probably one of the best scientists I've known. We're utilizing all the learnings from the CF program and applying those learnings to additional diseases such as sickle cell disease, beta thalassemia, type 1 diabetes, and more particularly here in San Diego, our pain program. There were two very important learnings in the CF program that we are applying into other diseases. The first one is to understand the root cause of the disease, and the second one is to utilize human cells to be able to evaluate the pharmacology of our compounds. And now our work means that we could be in a position where we actually transform two different disease areas. So being able to do it in one area is already pretty incredible. Having the opportunity to do it in two is really unheard of. But this is the dream and the ambition.
What really excites me about what we do is to use science to solve hard problems, to find medicines to treat serious unmet medical diseases. That's pretty cool.